Blades Ramble are proudly supported by our main channel sponsor, My Business Group, a group of brands designed to support owners, leaders and managers in business. If you're looking to grow your business, contact mybusinessgroup.co.uk today for more information or follow the link in the description below. And seeing as this is 3MB, we're proudly sponsored by VMB Auto Centres at Handsworth. They're still offering that amazing deal of 50% off your MOT when you let them know that you're a Rambler. Call them now on 0114 322 4446. Thank you to VMB Auto Centres for their continued support of the Ramble.
Blades fans, subscribe to Blades Ramble. Up the Blades.
What is happening, Blades? And welcome back to the Blades Ramble. I am, of course, Jimmy, and this is 3 Mardy Blades. We're again a little bit Mardy tonight, I think. Well, I certainly am. I know Dave the Nose definitely is, for just reason. We'll have to find out how the Man Mountain's doing. But look, it's getting ridiculous. This we're now. How can you try and be positive when we've lost 8 out of 9? And what do we need to turn it around? Because it's more than just a concern now. It's oh my, how do we get out of this? The players we've seen higher levels of performance from these players, but that they look a shadow, a lot of them, of their former selves, and the confidence appears to be on the floor. The concern has always been, yes, Wilder will give them an uptick in performances and he'll sort of come in and give them a boost, which is what we need. We certainly need that. We need them to have half a fighting chance of turning their form around. But if the results don't change, then the confidence will start to dip again, and that is the concern. Look, let's get the boys in and have a chat about it. First up, it's the view from the mountain.
This is the view from the mountain, with a heart so pure it's astounding. Man mountain, strong and true. What a man, what a view.
With a heart so pure it's astounding. How's it going, pal?
Oh, the purist.
The purest of hearts. The purest of hearts. How is your pure heart feeling about what's happening at the minute, mate?
Well, you know, let's get Dave on.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do a safe and well check on Dave.
It's Dave the Nose.
Dave the Nose, he really knows where the wind, I know whispers blow. Smelly brain, he's in the know. Dave the Nose steals the show.
Dave the Nose, he really knows. Dave.
Move on, I'm out of shot.
It's all right, mate. It's all right. It's all right. Dave, for those that aren't aware, as his boiler's just gone just before he's come on tonight. So that's just sums his weekend up, I think, really. United first and then the boiler going. I don't know which you're more upset about, Dave.
The boiler.
The boiler was more unexpected.
Dave, you are usually the voice of reason. I'm gonna sort of give you a little bit of a pass before I jump straight into it. Paul, I'm gonna ask you first. How are you feeling about everything going on at United at the minute?
Well,
because we're trying to stay positive, like we always try and look at the. Come on, let's see how we can rally and see how we can get back on top. But it's not happening at the minute, is it?
it's not happening. It's not happening on the pitch. For us United fans, but I think it's. I know. I've said it on here about luck and how luck does play a part in a lot of things, and especially when it comes to football. And the goal that they've scored against us here, that is just lucky. Now you can say, "Oh, you make your own luck," well, but whatever. It is awfully unlucky. The guy who hits it is sending it, up to hit Steve Simonson's footy that's in orbit still somewhere. and it ricochets off our defender and goes in. And after that, Cooper's not really had much to do. We've missed a penalty, and I actually think we've been the better side, and probably, certainly should have got something from the game. Probably should have won the game. Doesn't like paper over the idea that we're not having enough shots. I thought Gus was unlucky with his left footer, obviously, off the post as well. I think that we were the better side without a doubt in my head. So when you compare that to where we were, because although, again, people can call me whatever when it comes to Wilder, and, you know, if you think we're happy clappers, then go for it. But you got to admit that the last two performances should have yielded something. So Southampton, I felt we've been done by a really good goal. I felt like we should have certainly got something from the game. Whether we did enough to win it, I don't know, but I felt the performance deserved something from the game. Now, that certainly wasn't the case when Ruben was here. I was going into those matches with absolutely zero optimism that we can pull something out of the bag. We do look a lot more likely to pick up points, and I do feel like we've been a little bit been dealt a little bit of a harsh hand this last two games, personally. Okay, so I don't think it's nearly as bad as it was 3 weeks ago. I know that the results haven't improved significantly under Wilder. That will be why he was a little bit. I think he's a little bit down himself in the press conference afterwards, and I think that's because when he came in, you know, I think he expected a bit more of a bounce, and I still think he thinks that a lot of our players, and we all think this, are still not at the level where they were before. Whether that's down to fitness, who knows? But I don't think it's as bad as we're making out. And as well as that, we're not adrift at all. So I still think there's ability in this team to go and win 2 or 3 games on the bounce and get us out of it. I know at this point people say, well, why do you think that? Because we've only had 1 victory. I think that if we keep doing the right things and it gets better, you know, we get Danny Ings fit over these couple of weeks, we get Tom Davis closer to a 90 minutes. He can get some work done with Ty Campbell, who I don't think is match fit. I think we've got a much better chance of coming out of this under Wilder than we would have done under Sayers, personally. And I don't think it's been as bad. I think we have been a little bit unfortunate.
I'm going to agree with you, Dave. I'm going to come to you in a sec, mate. But I'm going to agree with you on us being slightly unlucky in the last couple of games. I do think you met your own luck in terms. I don't think you look at Hull's goal, and they flooded the box. Their intent was, we are going to get the absolute maximum out of this chance that we're creating here, and they flooded the box with 4 bodies. We had 3 in initially. Cheo's like chasing his tail to get back in. Obviously, it is fortunate how the strike was going well off target and then hits Ogbenny and it goes in. That's an Ogbenny own goal, essentially. We're out of luck because of that, but they've made their own luck by getting themselves into that strong attacking position. I don't think we're playing the margins at all in terms of our attacking play. So we are creating chances. We are getting into positions where we are in goal-scoring opportunities. I think the stat before the game said something like we were bottom of the stats in terms of where you want to be in an awful lot of metrics. One where we were high up was touches in the opposition box. So I think we were 6th in the league for touches in the opposition box. Something like 198 before kickoff yesterday. And what are we doing with those? Nothing, because we've got nobody in the box to assist with those advanced movements that we're making. We are not making the most of the margins in terms of when we get the ball in an advanced position, we are not showing ourselves. We are not in the space. The strikers aren't in the box. Striker is not in the box, which is another reason why a lot of us have been calling for 2 strikers. But even the 10 is not late in, whether it's Cal or Gus, they're not late into the box a lot of the time. We are slow in the transition. So even when we get bodies forward, we are allowing the opposition to get in shape and be compact within the box. And that doesn't help us either, because we've then got 2 lines to break down the whole time. So I think we have been unlucky in terms of we've looked better in possession. We've looked better out of possession even, to be fair. I think Southampton was our best performance of the season, but it's a really low bar at the minute, a really low bar. And I'm concerned that like I started off with, but it's all right to be playing slightly better, but if you're still not getting the results, then eventually the confidence will continue to wane, and we won't be able to turn it around. And I think that's some people's concern. I love the positivity, Paul, in terms of we've seen that these players are good enough, and if we keep doing the right things, then it's more likely to come than not. But how long are they going to stick with it if they don't believe in it? If it's not working for them, how quickly the heads start to go down and stuff. Dave, what's your take on things at the minute, pal?
I'm probably somewhere in between what you two have said, I guess. I don't think it was as bad as it seemed. I thought we actually played okay in a lot of spells. But the details matter, and the details are that we're not getting into the box enough. We're not getting enough players into the box, and we aren't quick enough in how we do it. I totally agree with what you just said on that. It's frustrating when you see, Ty Campbell pick the ball up and he runs to, near the byline, and there's not even one person for him to try and get a ball into, let alone two or three. We need to take more risks, which I understand why they're probably feeling a bit shell shocked after the first few games of the season, and they're maybe more hesitant to take those risks. But it's the only way that we're going to get ourselves out of it and get the confidence back into them. Because I think there was a stat during the game about how many times that we've how many games we've lost when we've conceded the first goal, and I thought, well, we've only won one game, we've lost the rest of them. So that's it's a bit of a semi-redundant stat, but you can tell. I think there's I think if you look at the back with Cooper, I think his confidence is on the floor. I think Burrows taking the penalty was a bit unfair on the lad. To be fair, I think someone should have made that decision for him rather than giving him the option and just sort of saying, I think it's someone else to take.
But if he scores, Dave, nobody bats an eyelid, do they?
Yeah, but when he's not started the game, and somebody, people could talk to me till the cows come home that he's not started the game because maybe he's needed a rest, but the guy's not been at the level that.
No, he hasn't.
Season,
no,
right?
he hasn't. I'll give you that.
He's not started the game for me because he needs to be taken out of the team. Maybe Sam McCallum's shown a bit more in training or whatever, but he needs to be taken out of the team for his own good and to help him get back to where he needs to get back to. He's come on late in the game and he's getting a late penalty to take. It's just, I think there's decisions that need to be made. You can go, if he, it's like you go, well, if you give it to Tom Cannon, maybe his confidence is going to be, it's going to help his confidence and he's going to help him score more goals. I think you've got to look and go, who's been on the pitch, right? Who's striking the ball all right? And you probably chuck it to Gus or Danny Ings and say, right, who any of you guys got it?
I think it's very revisionist to say that, to be honest.
No, well, how many of us we were on? I don't know with the watch along, but from the group chat, I saw it on there when he'd pick the ball up, and people go, "Why's Burrows taking it?"
Because he's our penalty taker, and he hasn't missed before that.
But we're in a different set of circumstances now from when he took the last one.
Yeah, but you could say anything, couldn't you? Go on, Paul. You've been sticking your hand up a couple of times. Go on, mate.
Well, no, I mean, it's again loads of all of this is great after the event, like Jim says. But I did say the second that I thought he was going to give it to Ings personally. I think Ings has been around this block. This is a high pressure situation for a guy out of form in his early 20s. I know he's a taker, Jim. I know he is. If I was Danny Ings at that point, I'd have probably gone over. Or
I'm not again.
It should have been agreed before the game. Maybe that's a detail that was missed. If Ings is on the pitch, mate, a guy who scored many penalties at a higher level and his experience as well in that situation, compared to an out of form 21-year-old who's been successful.
Is Ings banging form? He's just come back from injury.
It doesn't matter the caliber of the finishing.
I agree. To be honest, what we're going to say was Dave asked about the watch. He wasn't sure how it went on the watch along, but on the watch along, as soon as we get the penalty, the first thing I said was it's got to be Ings. It's got to be Ings, and then Burrows picks the ball up, and it reminds me. He's our penalty taker. Right, okay, it's Burrows. I'm not overly confident with Burrows taking the penalty because of all the circumstances that Dave laid out. But he's our penalty taker. I 100% understand why he's still getting that responsibility. And if he puts it in the bottom corner, or a top corner, which he's more than capable of doing, then nobody is having this conversation right now, and nobody's questioning Wilder as to why he let Burrows take it. Nobody's questioning Burrows as to has he got the bottle or anything like that. He's taken a poor penalty, which stunk of no confidence. So that does back up your points completely. But I think it's very revisionist to say, why didn't Danny Ings take the penalty? Danny Ings could have taken the penalty, skied it over the bar, and everybody's saying, why didn't Burrows take it? He's our penalty taker.
You're saying revisionist, but we're saying it at the event, so it's not. If you're saying it at the point of the event, we're not like we're going back on ourselves now and we said, we thought Burrows were all right at the time, and now we're saying they're not. We're saying it at the time.
Yeah, I know.
That was clearly your thought, Jim. That was my thought. That was Dave's thought. So, and that's not just like like you said. You are probably right. If he slots it, it's less of a talking point. It doesn't mean that I wouldn't have said it because I did say that. I was like, I think Ings should be on this personally. That was my first instinct at the time, and I think that's fair enough. It's not like we're saying, oh.
But does that further knock Burrows' confidence if he takes him off the pen?
Well, it's dropped him from his side. So
you've got to do the right thing at the right time, though, regardless of whether you're thinking, it's going to dent his confidence. If you're in the 90th minute or close to 90th minute, and you've got a penalty to equalise when you need a result, you have to take it out of it, and that's when you take him to one side afterwards and say, "I'm sorry, but I've done this for you as much as anything else."
Yeah. I think it's fair enough to say it, Jim. I don't think we can be, you can say, "Oh, easy said afterwards." I stand by. That was my first instinct.
If you say it at the time, there's no issue, is there? Because it goes back to Dave's point. It's not a case of revisionist in that sense. If you've said it at the time, but I think we had a lot of people coming on saying, "Why on earth did he let Burrows take the pen?" And again, these people might have said it at the time, and that's a different argument, I suppose. Because I think the one that you can justify is, why is Burrows taking it at the current state of play? I think you can't look at it afterwards and say, "Oh, well, thinking about it, why did he even have Burrows doing it?" Because I think it's very easy to do. If he scores again, which he's very capable of doing, he's scored more than he's missed, then it's a different conversation.
If Wilder had been on the sideline bellowing across the pitch, Ingsy, 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 I'd had no problem. He's the manager. He makes the call, doesn't he? And like you said, he's justified in keeping him on it. But in that situation, in the form, in the circumstance, I think we all agree. I don't think there's an argument here.
No, I agree. Yeah. I think we're on the same page.
We thought it probably it would have been for us. It would have been Ingsy. But again, that's like I say, easy said afterwards. And I think it was something that was a bit of a faux pas. I just think that I don't want us to be too reactionary. We've got 2 weeks now, and I think we've seen improvement. I do think we've seen improvement. That hopefully we'll see even more improvement, and we'll see some of the key actors, as he calls them, in the starting 11 the next time we play. He did revert to 2 up top, I think, realising during the game and put the 2 on, which I think is a good move.
Yeah.
So again, it's hard when you're down like we're down, but you can't dwell on this for 2 weeks because it'll drive you mad. You've got
I don't think we will. I think it's right that after the game you look at it and it's understandable to be disappointed and frustrated with it as well. But we won't dwell on it. We won't. And come Watford, we all know we'll be well up for it again. So it's not. I don't worry about the fan base as a whole, but I worry about the situation the club's in. Do you think?
Sorry, Jim. I do think we do need to sort of just measure how we react to this, because I actually still think, and I know that people talking about playoffs, I've tried to put that to bed this last week or two about, well, where do you think we finish, 10th, playoffs, whatever. We need a run of games where we win some games. Then we can start looking at things in a slightly more positive way. Because the people who say to us, we're in a relegation dog scrap, well, we are, based on what we're doing at the moment. There's no doubt about that. And the people saying that are right at this point. But I still think there's a lot of games. The league is very tight. I've seen an improvement in what we're doing, personally. And I think there's a lot more to come out of this team than they are showing at this point in time. And I think again, the fitness of Tom Davies. I think we're becoming a little bit reliant on that improving as a fan base, because we've seen that he makes a big difference in the centre of the park. Danny Ings, I think, will make a massive difference to us. I still think he's going to start. He looked lively when he came on. Personally, I'd have had him on from the beginning and took him off when he was tired. I think a few people said that about the weekend. If he's going to do 20 minutes or whatever, build him up, give him 50 minutes.
First half, if that's all he can do, yeah.
Give him an hour, whatever, just because, and try something a little bit different, because it hasn't been working for us. Mainly in that final third, it hasn't been working. You have to say, it's the last bit where the ball hasn't gone in, hasn't dropped for us, hasn't like you say, we've been saying it for ages, haven't we? People get players into the box.
Yeah.
I think there's a fitness issue. I watched
100%.
I watched Estevao score for Chelsea this weekend. The classic. If you're the right winger and the left winger goes down the flank, you've got to get it into the back post.
Of course you have.
And people have been saying about Ogbeni. I was really enthusiastic about Ogbeni. I think he could probably play. It just does not look like he's going to score a goal. I don't think he's took a shot. I want him on that back post when the ball goes wide on the left hand side. When Gussie cuts in and he wants to diag one, he's got to be in there. You've got to have. And again, the call for two strikers, I think, is justified. I think there's so many wasted opportunities in going for us at the minute. Very wasteful. Toothless was the word, wasn't it, that was used. Yeah. We don't look like that. We've got that cutting edge. I still think Ings will give us it. I think Campbell's out of form. I think, again, Cannon's never been in form, but we need to persevere with the three of them, I think.
Do you know,
two out of the three.
Campbell, they just look something off there, massively off there.
He's not fit, mate. He don't look fit at all to me.
He didn't look like he's closing down. He pressed last season. He was really, really effective with it. And watching him yesterday, and I don't know, it was like he just...
He had a run at their defence and went down the right, and he was again isolated, so he was ad-libbing it, trying to keep the ball, trying to get us something out of the situation, a corner, whatever, and take a threat to him. But the camera went to him after he'd done it.
I know.
And I was like, wow. This... I think there's an underlying issue there for a few of them.
My worry about the squad, really, there are some that stand out more than others. Gus looks like he's carrying a bit of extra, as he normally tends to do, look like that anyway. I know that's his build per se, but I think he is carrying a little bit. Ty Campbell doesn't look fit at all. I think a lot of the team doesn't look as fit as we've seen him previously, which is a huge concern. And it's the one thing I'm struggling with is it confidence or is it desire? And is it because if it's desire, it's unforgivable. If it's a lack of desire to get there and a lack of desire to be fit and maintain fitness, or to go that extra 5 or 10% that we've seen them do before. If it's confidence, it's more understandable, and it's probably more of a subconscious than it is a conscious. So I'm really struggling with. I want it to be more.
Combination, Jim. I think it could be a combination, and the reason I say that is I think that some of them believe their own hype. So I think that there's a few of them who have forgotten Wilder's mantra of you've got to earn the right to play, and you do that through a number, like we talk about winning races and headers and tackles and duels, as he says. I think some of them believe it because I don't think the desire from a couple of them. Campbell thinks he's the real deal. And
did Campbell reach unattainable levels last season? Is it very difficult for him to get back to the same level as he was? Are we expecting too much out of him?
No, but I do expect, Jim, since he got here, I do expect a professional football player to be able to run for 90 minutes.
Absolutely. It's the bare minimum.
And that has been a criticism levelled at him since day dot, and even more so now. It looks like that way. I think Gus was playing because he's the most talented player, but also he probably believes that. Sidney Peck certainly believes his own story because for me, he's nowhere near where he was before. Burrows as well. Burrows lauded, team of the season, etc. Nowhere near. And the truth is, and I said Callaway should be dropped from the team. He's fit enough to play, Callaway. He just keeps going and he keeps going and he looks like he is as well. I think that we've got to get some of these key players regular 90 minutes and doing it. And I think that's been a problem for some of them for a while. I think it's a combination. It's a hangover from last season. I think some of them think they can just turn up and it's just going to happen because, we won all them games last year. No worries. It looks to me like they need a bit of a jolt. He needs to do some work with him over this 2 weeks. He needs to get some pre-season action into him certainly in the first week and get some more running into some of those legs because that was the hallmark of all our success. We've said it before. When we went up to the Premier League from the Championship, when we were in the Premier League, part of what we were doing is we were running over teams, and we don't look like we could run a bath.
Outwork, outfight, outplay. Wasn't that the motto or something like that? You look at players like George Baldock. Obviously, it's always going to be, but he never stopped running. I think we were blessed to have a player that we never even questioned the desire because it never came up. It was he never stopped going. His engine was unbelievable. I think we acknowledged it at the time, but we didn't quite know how special he was as a player. Enda Stevens were exactly the same for a period of time. Just absolute energy levels off the charts, bombing up and down for 90 minutes. Even players like Bash and Jack O'Connell, who were getting up and down the pitch from centre half. These players went like the extra mile. They absolutely maximised their talent. Maybe Jack O'Connell weren't able to quite reach his potential, unfortunately, because of the injury. But Chris Wilder helped him get there. But these players have to take the credit for that as well. And players like you're saying, Paul, like Ty Campbell. And I don't want it to be like this. I don't want it to be an attitude thing where he's already made it. But there's where is the ground level? Right, I'm going to make sure I'm the fittest one. The fittest striker out of the three, or whatever it might be. I need an edge to stay in front of these boys because Danny Ings is coming in now. We know he's probably the best finisher at the club. Tom Cannon is trying everything he can, or he should be trying everything he can to get in my spot. What's Ty Campbell doing to stay in front? I don't know is the honest answer, but it doesn't appear to the naked eye that he is going above and beyond like he did when he broke into the team last season. Kiefer Moore were our main boy, and then Ty Campbell gets his chance and he's saying, I'm going to take this and I'm going to run with it. And he made the shirt his own. At the minute, it's crying out for somebody else to take it off him because he's bang out of form and it's a real concern.
I think he's certainly a partnership striker. He's for me, Tom Cannon. When you've watched Tom Cannon before, the thing about him that his best feature is that he can finish inside the box.
Yeah,
and that's about sharpness over 5 yards, using your noggin and obviously technique to go with it. So it's those things. I think when you're a solo striker, the demands on you, there's a lot of demands on you outside the box. There's a lot of demands on you usually in the build up to moves as well, because your strike partner isn't going to do that for you. No one's
it's a taxing position, isn't it? It's a really hard position.
No one's going to flick it on for you, and no one's going to lay you like you've got to go and make it yourself, and you've got to make the runs. I don't think it suits him as a solo striker. We've said it. I think that when you look at them now, with Ty Campbell certainly not where he was last season, nowhere near in terms of being that solo striker. Again, couldn't finish 75 minutes, but when he was on the pitch, he looked a real threat, and he can still finish. His finish the other night was excellent. We know he can do it. And I think that's why. And it's kind of what the Stoke fans said to us, wasn't it? They were like, well, he's been injured, but they were still a little bit fearful that he could come to us and score an hatful because he's obviously got, there's something ability there, isn't there?
Yeah, there's ability there. Of course
there's obvious ability, but I think that it suits us now to go to a 2. It really does suit us to go to a 2.
Do you think we will?
Well, I think he did it at the back end of the game, and I think he realises that we haven't got the personnel. So at the minute, for me, our problem is that the personnel for fullbacks doesn't exist. So I don't think we can play with a 4 with fullbacks because it's been shown how weak we are at the back and how easy it is to get in behind us and how easy it is for teams to create against us. So I think we stick with a 3 personally. And I think when we've changed it to 2 in the second half, you can see it worked better. Danny Ings was a menace. As soon as he came on the pitch, wins us the penalty. He looked sharp. He looked like he's going to be great, I think. I just want him to obviously come in and stay fit and get fit.
Yeah,
I think Tom Davis is going to improve us. We're pretty sure that now we're looking at Tom Davies going, Dave's been saying it for years. He's quality, and we've got to get him on the pitch. We've got to keep him fit. It wasn't as big a thing when we had Blaston, when we have Peck, and we have all the other options. But what we have got is a side that we think there is a lot more to come, or there could be a lot more to come. I don't think it's as bad as people think, because again, someone compared it to, you said it to me the other day, didn't you, Jim, about do you feel the same as we did when we were in the Premier League? And I don't, because in that situation, we were giving away so much ability. I know that we could turn up one week and hammer somebody. I know we could, because of the players and the personnel we've got. But they have got to do the basics. And I think I did hear a rumour, again, I can't remember who said it, about Wilder assessing the fitness levels of the squad and going a bit bananas behind the scenes about it, and how they're not anywhere near where they need to be for.
I think he said it in a presser, didn't he?
Did he say it in a presser?
Yeah, he said it a couple of times.
It's just off the top of my head.
He said it a couple of times about we're having to make physical substitutions, and they're not where they need to be in terms of the fitness.
Yeah, well, but again, there's no better time than now, is there? This week, he's got most of the squad there. There's only a couple out the first 11 disappearing, so we've got a really good opportunity now to get some more running into these legs and get these boys in better condition, because it must be a concern. It has to be. He can't be watching what we're watching and feel like that. I think at the minute we do underestimate how much a new side coming together, because we were almost spoiled last year when we brought all those players together, and it kind of we hit the ground running, didn't we, with all them clean sheets at the start of the season, and it all just gelled really quickly. Yeah. We've always said in attack we never quite thought it gelled often enough, but as a unit, as a team, we were achieving from the first kick, where now obviously we're not, but there is a lot of new players in this 11 when you look at it, and I think it's just it is going to take a little bit of time, but I agree with what you're saying. I think the first thing we got to do is get those fitness levels up. We've got to get players committing to going into the box. We've just got to play in attack in the final third. We've just got to play quicker, because I think that, like you say, watching teams set up in their banks when you're supposed to be on the transition on a break is just like.
I know. It's frustrating, isn't it?
Yeah.
So Dave, Paul's saying there he doesn't think there's major concerns at the moment, and it's not something that he's overly panicking about, but things need to, obviously, the players that we know can do better need to up their levels. Are you on a similar vein to that, or do you think there's big changes needed here in terms of whether that be personnel, whether you bring in, for example, do you drop Siddy Peck? Do you bring in Femi Siriki for Ogbeni? Do you go two up top and put Danny Ings alongside Campbell or Cannon? That would mean dropping Gus or O'Hare most likely, because you'll probably stick with the three at the back. Do you think it needs big changes, or do you try and, like Paul says, work on both the fitness and the mentality of the crop and maybe make, tweaks rather than wholesale sort of decisions?
I wouldn't go wholesale at the moment. I think with this break, I do think there's some people in there who have not stepped up to the level that we thought they would do. My nagging doubt with Ogbene since the signing happened has kind of not gone away. Why they let him come to us, and I don't know.
You said that from day dot, to be fair.
Yeah, and I'm still not getting it with him.
The concern I've got about Ogbene is we've signed him as a right winger, a high right winger, and we've switched the formation now. So he's another. I know he's played right wing back before, but he's a square peg in a round hole for me. I think Femi Siriki might be an option to look at now.
But I think Siriki's done his best stuff when he's been able to run beyond his man.
But he's a right wing back into Siriki. Yeah. We know that.
But what he did really well last season is when we either had Brooksy or Jezrin on the right hand side, is he'd overlap.
Yes.
And he wouldn't be able to do that, I don't think, as easily.
But you'd fancy Femi more at the minute to beat his man than Ogbene.
Yeah, I don't know. He seems hesitant. I looked and thought this guy's supposed to be quick, and I'm just not really seeing it. He's not getting into the box quick. I mean, there's plenty of them that aren't, but just using him as an example, I think he needs to show more. I think it's a quite telling indictment that, other than that, and you'll probably correct me when I'm wrong on this, there's none of the other loan signings troubling the starting 11.
No,
really.
they're in. No, they're in.
Um,
Louis Barry, Tyler Binden, Ben Godfrey.
well, I think I'd be amazed if Binden,
Samari.
unless we can't do anything about it, be amazed if he's still.
Well, this is another question, Dave, because he's been quoted after the game as saying he already knows who's in his plans and who isn't. He knows who can take us further and who we can't. Who do you think's in that? Sorry, pal, you're not part of my plans.
I could see Barry going back. I could see Binden going back. I think Samari will go back if they can.
Godfrey?
Possibly, depending on. I mean, he's not really had a shot under Wilder yet, has he?
No, but what is sort of, it appears as though he's got his set three, and Godfrey's certainly somebody that can come into that back three. But if he's going to be a sub, it's a very expensive substitute.
Yeah, no, I agree, and I've got a sneaky suspicion if Suter comes back and looks solid, and they'll do a deal, I think he might go for that in January, and that certainly means you could probably.
Can I just pitch a back three of Tanganga, Suter, and Ben Mee?
Yeah, it's mad, isn't it?
It's incredible.
So I think I think it's there's a bit of, we need to scramble and get what we can until January, because I do think that we've got to make some squad changes, and that's a big exhale. But there's so many of them that aren't.
I'm with you. I'm just looking at the date, the 5th.
Exactly. It's got to be two different conversations, hasn't it? It's got to be a longer term plan or a medium term plan to get rid of what you class as dead wood or people that can't take your fault. But you need to work with them for the here and now.
Well, this is my problem with what Wilder's said, because if you're right, and these loan signings are not his players, he don't want them. There might be a scenario in the middle of November, and certainly in December when the games are thick and fast. These players we need them to play.
Yeah, there also might be some who go, "I'll show you."
Yeah, there might be. We've had Paul Coots and Kieran Freeman on the transfer list before they came back into his plans by having that sort of attitude that he wants to prove them wrong.
I have to say, I'm really. I think he seems like another lovely lad, Louis Barry. I can't tell you how disappointed I am with his output. I can't. Even when he's been on, he just doesn't look quick enough at this level.
But he's another that doesn't suit the new system, does he?
No, but again, you'd have thought he offers us a bit of flexibility if him and Ogbeni on either flank and one through the middle, whatever. If you wanted to go to three at the top, you could. But I just don't see it. Do you know? I think Ogbeni's coming back from an injury, Dave, and I think that he has had contributions where he has scared the fullback to death, and he has put balls in for things to happen. The O'Hare goal, the winner, was being the best example, I'd say. He's coming back from an injury. He looks again someone who needs. I think something needs to drop for him, and something needs to happen for him. I'm not writing him off yet, but Louis Barry, he's very obvious in what he wants to do all the time for me, and he just seems to be getting picked off and doesn't seem quick enough to cause them the kind of problems that are certainly an advanced forward in this division needs to be. I don't know about you, but yeah, I've been really shocked. But I'm reluctant to throw people on the fire until at this point of the season, because it's a long time until we can change things personnel wise. I think there's hopefully, like you say, one or two of them get the bit between the teeth and go, well, come on then. I'm going to start upping everything, upping my level in training, upping this.
It makes you wonder, doesn't it, with Wilder, whether it's a warning shot and sort of laying down a challenge, or whether it's self-preservation, because you could see it as or maybe a bit of both. In terms of, I haven't got the squad that I need.
I think it's a warning shot.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he can't. I don't think he can't really lose, can he? If you think about it, they're not his players, and we've not performed, and he's been begged to come back after they've sacked him a few months earlier.
Yeah,
I don't think he needs to do self-preservation. I think it's 100% a warning shot to some of them that if you want to be there, you've got to really up your levels now, because otherwise, he's already. Yeah, I've not read it properly. The Danny Hall article in the Star about how talks are already happening about January, and I think it's a clear. If you want to be here, then you need to.
Do you buy into the rhetoric, Dave, that like Sidney Peck, for example, is a favourite of his, and he won't drop him?
I mean, he seemed to have had previous, doesn't he?
Yes.
With this. But the trouble is, you never know if there's other reasons and situations at play as to why he's making certain decisions. I think City has looked better over the last few games, and he looks better with a more solid midfielder alongside him. Like he looked better last season when he had
Sousa.
Then he had Sousa alongside him, or when he had those games before they were destroying energy levels.
Yeah,
I mean Tom Davies is class. I mean if he's fit, he's not playing at Sheffield United for me.
It was City and Tom Davies, weren't it, running in through that Christmas period, absolutely burning themselves out every game. So
I think if he feels like he's got someone solid alongside him, I think you see a better City Peck. But let's not forget, he's only just into his second season
as a pro
professional football. Sometimes I think, especially when players come through and they come firing out of nowhere, that you can sometimes expect that they're able to constantly maintain that level going forward. They're going to have, we've said it before so many times, they're going to have these little dips where, it's a confidence or an experience issue that they're going through a tough time, and they're figuring their way out of it.
You need patience with them, don't you?
Yeah, absolutely. And it'd be the same when Blaster comes back. If we expect Blaster to come back, and in his first sub appearance that he'll no doubt make when he's back, and we expect
he gives ball away, and everybody's like, "What are you doing?"
But exactly, they'll be like, "Oh, I've been worried about this. He's not the same player that he was." And you're like, "Hang on, he's young. He's coming back from a long-term injury.
He's had a year out."
Right, but with Sidney, you've got to, and it'll be the same if Sariki comes in. You can't expect him all the time to be able to hit the levels that they've been able to hit, and he needs that probably somebody alongside him who's maybe that's the challenge for him with Matos. Matos is another young lad, so you've got two young lads again in the middle park trying to figure their way out of
as is Burrows, as is Tom Cannon.
Right,
Tom Cannon, just because he looks 26. We forget how young he is as well. He's 22, I think.
22, isn't he?
Yeah. So he's in the same bracket as Harrison Burrows and Sidney Peck.
Yeah. So maybe if you've got Ings with Cannon suddenly, then Cannon starts to kind of have somebody who's there helping him. And I'm sure Burrows will start to get his confidence back with Ben Mee sat next to him in that three.
Well, I was going to ask you, just before I go into some comments, if you're picking, and we'll go into it close to the time because we'll be on again before Watford, but if you're picking the team for Watford now, who's your left wing back?
Burrows.
Interesting, because on the performance yesterday, not necessarily just of Burrows, but I thought Sam McCallum was one of our better players yesterday. Other than he was, you can stick your finger out and say, what were you doing with goal? I think it was Matos that need to be a little bit closer. I can't remember who it was at the time, to be fair, but McCallum again. But I have that criticism with a lot of our fullbacks anyway, that we don't close the distance anywhere near enough and stop the cross. I think he has to sort of look at himself for the goal. One element of the goal, by the way. But I think other than that, he was the most enthusiastic player we had on the pitch. And I'm no Sam McCallum fan. I know Paul isn't. We think he's less of a danger at left wing back than he would be at left back. But I thought he did himself no harm yesterday at all by sticking his hand up and saying, "I want this. If this shirt's on offer, I'll take it."
Yeah, I get what you're saying. I think it's good because if we do see an improvement in McCallum, again we criticise McCallum, but again he's never actually had a run in this team, and he comes in 1 in every 5, and the odd bench appearance, etc. It's not great for rhythm, is it? And
no.
We sort of judge him on that basis. But you need to play your best players into form. And Burrows is certainly on his day. I think he's going to be really important if we go to 2 up top. He does provide us with that width there, and he has got
Great
that
shout.
quality
Great shout.
on the ball. I think Ings and Cannon in particular, I think that both of those types of striker will benefit from having Burrows on the pitch, because he is one that actually will put the ball in quickly. I know Gus likes to cut inside and spray his big diags. I know what they look like, but they take ages because he stops.
No, takes 2 or 3 touches. Yeah,
he has a look around. He thinks, and he can do anything with it, obviously. But Burrows is the one that
I'd like to see more of Burrows going around the outside of him, because that just gives you the options, then, doesn't it? And it creates the space. It
was quite an obvious pattern of play for us as well. When they were playing 4, they actually did just split into 3, and Burrows provided the width on the left-hand side, and Gus obviously slides inside whenever he wants to anyway. So he was giving us the natural width. I think he is a bit out of form, but at the same time, if you want him a bit fitter, you want him back to his best, he is one of our better players, and he will give us that quicker ball into the box.
Yeah, I think you're right.
I think no one else will.
It's so much better for the personnel that we've gone to wing backs, because I think McCallum's a better wing back. I think Burrows is better as a wing back, and I think Sariki's better as a wing back as well. I know it then affects other players like Ogbeni and Barry, but we haven't got legitimate fullbacks really, I wouldn't say. And I'm delighted that McCallum put in an half decent performance. I wouldn't say we're great, but I thought he put in an half decent performance. And stuff that tends to go unnoticed. He was our corner taker from that other side, and he kept dropping it right in the middle of the 6-yard box, causing chaos. And McBurney would obviously head it clear, but it's as he used to do for us all the time. But it's little stuff like that you think we don't lose loads. Certainly on Burrow's current form, with McCallum coming into the side, and I didn't think I'd be saying that. It's just one performance, obviously, but I'm not as concerned as we were before, because I remember when me and Paul were talking about it previously. It might even have been on 3MB with all 3 of us, but McCallum were a real we need to upgrade this left back position, because he's not a patch, but a left wing back I think he brings a little bit more, because he's also quite good going forward.
He's solid, isn't he? Let's be right. McCallum's solid. He's a solid backup, but his ceiling compared with Burrows it's night and day.
So last one then before I go into comments, because we're 45 minutes in and I've not even looked at one yet. So if we switch to a 2 up top, which I think we're all advocating, am I right? I don't mean to we'd like to see it. If we go to 2 up top from start and we have 1 behind, who misses out? Has it got to be Callum O'Hare who comes on as an impact player? Dave, shaking your head straight away.
I don't think it has to be. I mean, I think it's incredibly harsh on O'Hare.
I do.
I think he's been, 90% of his or 85% of his game yesterday. I thought he was fantastic. He works hard. One or 2 little flicks that maybe you'd have liked him to just put his foot on it and play a simple pass rather than trying to do something too clever. But the 10 to 15% is that bit that we're missing, which is getting into the box and sort of gambling, which he's not doing. But I don't think it's a night and day decision I don't think you can just stand there and go, you can't drop Gus. I think
there's a lot of people would say that though.
Yeah, but I think if you're looking at a team and going, you thought, well, I tell you what, the rest of them are rubbish, but we've relied on Gus again and again, and we haven't said that this season. We've not relied on him because it's just not happened. So I don't think it's quite as black and white as it was. Where not necessarily saying I wouldn't start Gus and I wouldn't bring O'Hare on, because I think O'Hare's a great. We've used the term finisher.
You'd be if you're a defender and you see Callum O'Hare coming on 65 minutes, you're like, oh my god.
Yeah.
You're like, I do not need this Energizer Bunny running me ragged for the last 20 minutes here, because it's you don't want any part of it, do you?
No, but I don't think it's cut and dry. I don't think it's you can't have that conversation. I think you can 100% have the conversation.
I think that is when he was outside the team and he was coming on, he was scoring, he was changing the whole picture off that bench. and he just does not have that impact when he's on from the start. I do watch him sometimes and think, well, he is the one that's still running. He's the one that's still doing this. He's still everywhere. He's
we talk about fitness levels. He's the only one that will go to the end, isn't he, really?
Yeah, I'd probably argue Matos is probably, he looks like he's in good nick and he can cover the ground. But you're right, though. For me, it would be harsh on O'Hare, but he has been... His best performances for us have been in those last 20 minutes, half an hour towards the end of last season when he was coming off the bench, because we don't really, you think, oh, well, he's one of our better players, he should be in from the start, but it was really, really working for us when that was the case. And it was a massive boost. And you could see the other players as well, when he's coming on, they're tuning in. Do you know what I mean? They're like, right, Cal's on now. He's going to be everywhere. He's going to be, and when people are getting tired, concentration slipping, he ended up scoring. He scored more goals in that last 10 games than he did the rest of the season, didn't he?
And that's the thing with Cal, isn't it? Because he will get a pass from a lot of blades because of how hard he works. Well, the minimum expectation from us is that you show you're working hard for the shirt, and a lot of clubs fans will say exactly the same, but when we see it, Nick Montgomery were another fan favourite because of the same reasons. Wasn't the most talented player, but anybody that puts Ben Osborne got the same sort of, from a select number of fans, he was really well appreciated because of his effort levels. Callum O'Hare does not stop running, and that will always be a really strong point in his favour. But he does flatter to deceive a lot of the time. He does keep going, and his energy levels are incredible. But I think his end product, what you want from a number 10 is scoring goals, yes, but certainly creating goals. And his goal involvement this season, the team has been poor. I'm not digging out Callum O'Hare as an individual, but just because he's been one of the more busy players doesn't mean he's any more effective. Because at the moment, we're still not getting what we need out of these games. The performances might be better, but we're not getting the results that we need. So I think we do, for the good of the team, we need to go to 2 up top. And I think we've more chance of creating things with Gus Hamer on the pitch, because, I mean, nobody's advocating that we drop Gus Hamer. I know Dave's saying it's not cut and dry, but we all saw the pelters that Ruben Sayers got when Gus were left out against Ipswich, and we lost 5-0 last time he were dropped. And it's a very risky decision to do because everyone knows his quality. Even though he's out of form, a lot of the team are out of form. The majority of the team are out of form. So why would you pick out the best player to remove? Callum O'Hare isn't bang in form. It might be, his overall output might be a touch higher than Gus's, but would you, if you put them side by side, most people would say Gus has to start over Cal.
I would just say, I think it's just there's a bit of a mentality thing of you saying you're not taking him out or whatnot, but about not having a free pass. And I think if he's not doing the business, then he doesn't get a free pass just because he's.
But
we all gave Sayers pelters for dropping Gus.
Yeah, we did, but
and would Wilder get the same?
Well,
because I would say no, he wouldn't. But is that right then? Does that sort of back some people's point that it just became a Sayers thing?
If we're going to up top and we've got to take one out, I'd take Cal out, as harsh as it is, and bring him on.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say that is always going to be the answer that I would give.
No, but you'd still do it. It just doesn't sit right with you, I think, is probably the best way of saying it.
Possibly, but at the same time, if it's in another 5 or 10 games' time and we're still looking and going, we need more from Gus, we can't just keep going. We can't take him out because he's best player.
No, I agree with that.
So that's kind of where I'm at with it.
I think for most people, we recognise that Gus has the ability for assists and goals. And if you're in that 10 position, again, repeat, you need someone who gets the numbers going, who get assists and goals. O'Hare was doing that for us off the bench. So when he was coming on into that position, I would argue, and I ain't got it in front of me, and I'm going to have a look at it and talk to you about it next time. His output towards the end of that season, I reckon he probably in that last 10 matches gave more assists and goals than he did for the rest of the season. And that was when he was coming off the bench.
Lee'll know.
Yeah, Lee will know.
Yeah, Lee will know.
You can sling it in the comments for us, Lee, if you wouldn't mind.
As long as if we're going to play him there, as long as we don't drop him into.
But Dave, he's going to be in every game. I would argue he'll come on for half an hour, nearly every single game, and I would then say, with the volume of games that we've got, Gus is definitely going to get suspended more than once.
Yeah.
And when we've got midweek games and Cal's an easy option in there and to come on and do that, I still think he's going to play out nearly every single match. I don't see him kicking his heels for a full 90 ever. But I do think, and I think that people play the way in as well. So I think what we saw from O'Hare was if he can come on and make that impact, at some point Wilder is going to go, right, Gus, you're rested. I'm going to stick you on.
I'm going to say, is it Gus or Cal then?
Well, I think, and that is what I would do now because of the problems that we've got getting the ball into the box. There will be games where he'll go, and every right to do it, and I'm all for it. We'll play Gus and Cal, and we'll play with one, and we'll change, or he'll change it up depending on who we're playing against and what the requirements of that game is. But I think Cal is the one that would fall out for me personally, and I do think we've got to go with two up top. I think Danny Ings we've got to give up Danny Ings the opportunity to play his way into fitness and to be the main man because his caliber is way above the others. That's clear, and that's what's happened before. So I just feel like we've got to stick with the three at the back. We've got to have a 10 and we've got to have two up top. And Wilder even did it, didn't he, in the second half of the game? So I don't see it being a problem. And I think there will be loads and loads of opportunities for Cal to come on and do the business for us.
Okay, nearly an hour in. We'll get to his first comment. Paul says, get a grip, owners, do something. Get more free agents in with quality who can win. Let people go who won't turn up and play for the proud crest badge. Geez, do something quick. We're like a sinking ship in free fall. I don't think that'll be the way we go, to be honest. I don't think the free agent market... The one outlier is probably Patrick Bamford, which has been rumoured. Any thoughts on that, lads, whether Pat Bamford might come in?
He might.
Would you want him? Would you want him? Is probably better.
I want us, if we're going to get another striker, I want us to get someone in who's not had injury issues.
The market is so thin, isn't it?
It's hard.
Certainly the free agent market now, which we're all going to be operating in. I don't think there is anybody. I think Bamford is the only, and it's a risk, is the only big name that is out there at the minute.
But we're in October now, and he's still not got a club, and you start to think, hang
not
on,
had a pre-season.
But why hasn't he got a club by now?
He probably wants too much money. Yeah, like Paul says.
Well, then maybe so. But at what point as a player do you think, hang on, got a problem here?
Yeah.
Not getting picked up.
Okay. Alan says, Jim lads. Up the mighty blades. Like and subscribe. Toothless. My crew lost all their hardtack biscuits. We're too hard seeing them. Gums. I says, lads. Yeah, just like Sheffield United. Toothless. Thank you, pal. Jaffet, the captain Tanganga, also known as Chirac, says, the question isn't can we go down? The real question is can we stay up as well as of Sunday the 5th of October? Then the answer has got to be no. What are we seeing to think any different? So Chirac thinks that we are relegation fodder. Joe says, Blaster can't come back soon enough. For me, it's him and Davis in midfield. Both like a tackle, both good on the ball, and both play forward passes, unlike City. Again, Joe, that is on paper, that is the combination. There's no guarantee we're getting Ollie Blaster at the maximum level. None of these we wouldn't have looked at any of these players and said, no to you. No to Gus. Let's leave Gus out. No to Campbell. Let's leave Campbell out. None of them have come back playing anywhere like the players that we've seen before. Who's to say that Ollie Blaster, not just in terms of form or confidence, but after an injury, his body might not be able to do the physical things straight away that he could do.
What's Pep just said about Rodri? I don't know if you saw his pre-match chat, and how managing minutes is so important with players coming back, and how they might come back, but it's almost the second season after the back that's the one where you start to see the player again, because it really does take the time after injuries like that to get them back to where they need to be at.
I have to apologise to everybody that's place to comment because I'll try and get through as many as I can. But obviously, we've already been going a little while, and with these shows where there's a few of us on, it's not always possible to get through them. Lewis says, "Evening lads, loved the video of you lot Tuesday night. No holding back on our goal. I'm at a loss as to what we do at the moment, but that's Chris's job, not ours. I see a team that wants to win. I also see one with no confidence, conviction, and lacking any collective or individual responsibility to ensure we take something from a game that our setup puts us in trouble to win. Numerous times yesterday, I roared in frustration, a pass, a shot, a decision, none of which were brave enough to take. It has to come from within the players. No hiding places. Up the blades. Up the Ramble. See you all at the gig on Friday. Up the Matilda Shakes." Well said. Well said. I think those are the frustrations. It's simple things that's not happening. Obvious passes and things that we all see and we scream, like Lewis said there, we scream at the TV because why can you not make a 10-yard pass, or why are you not taking that man on? Why are you not in the position? Why is nobody in the box when Ty Campbell goes down that left-hand side? So frustrating. Mark Meldrew says, "Evening lads, just a question or thought for you all. Do you think when watching us we do the basics well enough? That should be a job number one. We don't do nearly enough for me. If we can't do that first, we've no hope." Do we do the basics well enough? Dave, Paul?
Last two games, I think we've shown more.
Yeah, I agree.
In that respect, and it's the cohesion and the bit of quality at the end that he keeps talking about. It's when you get into the box, one high quality pass and finish is usually what you need, and we don't look like we're able to do that. Someone who can do that and someone who they're looking at to do that is Gus. Gus will do it at some point. He will do it. And he'll persevere with him because he's the one that will turn the key for us at some point. We're just waiting for it to happen, aren't we?
Yeah, agreed, mate. Peake says, "Good evening, Jimmy, Paul and Dave. What would be an acceptable place to finish if we're able to retrieve this awful situation we find our club in? Also, thank you, Jimmy, and all the Platinum members for making this torment a little more bearable. This would be horrendous to face on your own. So thank you to all who contribute in the comments. Up the blades, up the Ramble, like and subscribe." Thank you, mate. Just on this, Mark Meldrew says expectations need lowering significantly and realising what a mess we're actually in at the minute. Up the blades, up the Ramble, up the very worried Meldrew. Peake's asking there, where's an acceptable place to finish?
I think the answer to this is going to change throughout the season. To be honest, I think at the moment you've got to say probably staying up. But I think if you suddenly start to put 3 or 4 wins together and you climb out the relegation zone, then you start to.
I'm glad you've said that. Because I wouldn't want to put a pin in it right now. I wouldn't want to sort of just say this is where we're going to. If we finish 16th from here, it's a great finish because it's not for Sheffield United, is it? It's not. It's like when we celebrated the window because we got championship quality players in right at the end. We did what was needed. And getting out of this relegation zone is what's needed. Yeah. But it's not where we want to be. No. These aren't the players that we were all clamouring for at the start of the window. Tanganga is the standout for me. And I think we all got caught up a little bit in the excitement of the transfer window because we got championship players in at the death, really. And finishing 16th or 15th or just getting out of relegation is not what Sheffield United should be aiming for. But it's our reality currently. So... Yeah, that's what
let's tick the bits off as we go.
Correct.
How the manager will tend to be judged is based on the wage bill. So it'll be typically if Wilder was in charge for the whole shooting match, which we'll not dig that one out again. But if he was and he's got the 4th biggest budget, you've got to
be in and around 4th.
Got to correlate to that. It's nearly that's why they get judged a lot of the time. Again, we always have an outlier who's got the Luton 20th budget and ends up getting promoted. There's always something like that happens. There's Sheffield United when we went down to League One and we had that disastrous season. I think we had the 2nd budget or 3rd in the league at the time. So you do get outliers to it, but I would imagine that is exactly how the end of season meeting would be judged. Is
agreed.
If there's a side like Leeds whose budget's massive and they finish top compared to everybody else's budget, then the manager's like, "Yeah, I've done my job, haven't I?" And I'll go, "Yeah." And crack on.
Rick,
if you got the 5th budget and you finish 15th,
yeah.
it's P45 time. So.
Evening, Jimmy. Good evening. Hope everyone is okay. Thank you, Rick. We are, mate. Thank you. Smudge says, just goes to show how valuable Vinny was in midfield. Peck looks lost without a leader in midfield. This is where the battle's being lost. David says, evening to the three of you, up the ramble, up the blades. Luke says, evening, fellas. Calm down a bit. But what I would like to mention, which I think has been masked due to disappointment, is the fact that we did have chances. Hit the post, off the line, and a penalty, up the blades, up the right. That was something that Paul said at the beginning of the show, to be fair, Luke. So, yeah, we acknowledge that it probably wasn't on reflection, as I came on and I was fuming on night after night, calling us useless and all this sort of stuff. But I do think the desire, honestly, mate, I was fuming, absolutely fuming. But I think the desire drops after we go a goal down. Not the desire, the belief is sapped out of the players, and they don't really believe that they can go and get it back. Go on.
Again, I think there is a lot, and there's some people who will despair and go mad at me for saying this. We could have easily won these last 2 games. Easily.
Oh, well, yeah, Wilder's pretty much said the same.
Easily could have won it, and the narrative's like that. Right then,
it's on playoffs.
We're on, but honestly, if you've watched the last 2 matches, and another, I know it hasn't happened, and everyone's going to be like, "Well, it hasn't happened. We're rubbish. We haven't scored." I know, but we could have easily won these last 2 matches easily.
7 out of 9. From the last 3 games, and you would have been looking at it going, yeah, what a job he's done already.
I know.
It's fine margins, isn't it? But you've sometimes got to help tip those margins in your favour a bit more.
Yeah.
As a Burnley fan, says Brian, mystified as to why you aren't getting results. It can only be a confidence issue. Are they not fit enough? I don't think they are. Are they not working for each other? Your squad has got huge talent in it. Yeah, thank you, mate. I agree. From a neutral view, I thought you would have turned the corner by now with the players you have. Unfortunately not. I think you have 5 games now, or you're in trouble, mate. I think we're in trouble already, pal, to be honest. Winkerbank Blade says, not commented for a while. It's crazy how football affects your mental health. Sheffield football just needs a restart. So depressing at the minute, up the ramble. I hope you're okay, pal. It's something I touched on very briefly yesterday, but I'll never just skip over it. It's really important that you feel a part, that like you're not on your own. And Sheffield United put out a really pertinent tweet earlier. I don't know if they put it on any other platforms, but it was a lineup of in the same style as the teams are given before the game, and it was family, friends, co-workers, all the people that are there to support you. So apologies that you've been feeling low, mate. We've all been there. Some of us are still there. Some of us cope with it better than others. But there's always somebody to talk to, mate. So if you need to reach out, then we're not far away at all. Let's have a look. Sav says, last season we had a good habit of winning. I was there yesterday and came away thinking, how have we come away with nothing? The biggest problem is Campbell. He's absolutely isolated with no support. Dave Ahmed says, evening guys, the worry is getting cut adrift. There are quite a few mid-pack teams, and it may well be we need a points total of plus 45 to stay in the division. I spotted a comment from Steve Mumford, who was one of our Ramblers, on the 90 after 90, who said he's really concerned because we're nearly a quarter of the way through the season and we've got 3 points, and you're going to need 50 points to stay adrift. And I'm not overly concerned about that. I'm not looking at points totals across the season yet, but people have got valid reason and valid concerns for being, we need to snap out of this sort of sleepwalking into a relegation battle. We're already there, aren't we? We need to claw our way out of it. And Paul, you're right. There's teams still within touching distance. Of course they are, because we're so early on. Yeah. But I think we're 4 adrift, and it's if we could go and beat Watford on the return after the international break, and we could still be bottom at league, and or we may still end up being bottom at league. So it becomes a mentality thing where you have to sort of be really strong here and try and push your way out of it.
You're right. You're right in what you say, but a fortnight in the Championship is quite a long time. You can have 5 matches in a fortnight, and if you win 3 or 4 of them, then all of a sudden the whole picture is different, and the league as tight as it looks already. No one's running away. The team at the top have only got 2 points a game, and I know that's good, obviously, but
it's what we did last year.
Yeah, last year they'd be on 25, not 19 or whatever. So it's kind of like
they're on 27, aren't they, Cole?
It's I don't know, something like that. But what I'm saying is they're at the very top, aren't they? So what I'm saying is there's nobody who's.
Oh no, 27 goals it might be. So I don't know. Sorry, mate.
We need to get on a run, but I still think we've got the players to go on a run. That's the point. That is the difference. And I think that we could have started that little run already. And I just think that the last two results have gone against us, and we're all sore. We are, and I'm sore. I don't like losing. I don't like watching us lose, especially when we deserve better. Do you know what I mean? Under Sayers, we didn't deserve anything better, whereas. The last three games, again, the two I've watched, we should have picked something up from both of those, in my opinion, and it could have been 3-3 easily for me. So we do need to snap out. But again, a good month, one good month, Jim, and we're back in the shout. So I'm not worried.
No, I know. It's just I don't see any signs. Well, I do see signs of it coming. I'd be lying if I said I didn't.
I do.
But you don't want to be blindly optimistic, do you? And not aware of how much trouble we're in.
I don't think it's blind, Jim. I think it's justified. I think you.
No, I agree. I agree with you. That were an unintentional dig,
okay, you can't. Well, there isn't a Blades fan who's watching these games feeling the same way as they did under Sayers. They can't be. Although it's not champagne, it's not great. It's much better, and it's much more like we look like we're going to get a result. We didn't look like getting anything under Sayers, nothing at all in any of the matches, and we look like we should be picking up points in these games. And it hurts because Wilder would have thought that he gets these things going, and it's going to bounce, and the players are going to see it, and then the morale goes up, and everybody's happy, and then we start going on a run, and it's all roses. And it hasn't worked out for him either. So he's got to dig into that experience of 30 years of management or whatever he's got under his belt. He needs to look at those big players in the dressing room and go, right, take these boys with you and drag them through this. And yeah, this is going to be the hardest 2 weeks because I personally think he would have thought he would have got more points on the board than he's got. But this is it. This is the challenge, and they'll, like you say, they'll sink or they'll swim. But there's a long, long way to go. Yeah,
agreed. I don't buy into this, Pete, personally, and this is just my opinion, that the 92 points is masking over the reality of our performances last season. We played well in 5 or 6 games. You can't luck your way. You can't spawn your way to 92 points. Whether it's pretty football is an absolute fair argument, but it were winning football, and there's more to it than just. It showed resilience, it showed heart and determination and desire to get over the line, and stuff that we are not showing this season at all. So I don't think it's pure tactics. I think it's also the mindset that you can put the players into the 92 points. So I think it's still a worthy gauge in terms of showing where we have been with this or a very similar set of players to what we've got currently, and where we are at the moment, because that's what keeps us going back to some of these players. We know that Tyrese Campbell can be a very good striker at this level because he showed it last season during the 92-point season. If you'd have just seen Tyrese Campbell come in this summer and he'd have made these performances, everybody to a man and woman would be saying he gets nowhere near the lineup. Why does he keep persisting with him? Because he's not shown anything. The only reason he's in is legacy performances from last season. You could say the same about Sidney Peck early on this season. I think Sidney's getting better, but he's not pulled up any. Harrison Burrows don't get anywhere near the lineup this season on his performances this season. You have to take into account what people, and the manager gets that same credit as well, I think. So yes, he might not have. I think the performances are better, which you can reflect back on the manager, but he's still lost 3 out of 4 games. So you can level that at him, but he has also got a lot of credit in the bank as well, which is what a lot of these players have from last season too. So I think, sorry to just hang on your point, Pete, and you're more than entitled to that opinion, pal. But obviously that's big of ours as well. Susan says, hey lads, I think we're probably all thinking this won't do Harrison's confidence any good if or when he misses. Yeah, that was for the pen, weren't it? Hamer absolutely doesn't look fit, says Michael. LA Blade says Ings is a seasoned pro, a forward whose job it is to score goals. What better for him? A free shot from 12 yards. PS, evening, lads. Yeah, I think that point, it's not a case of Danny Ings shouldn't be taking the... My point was it shouldn't be Danny Ings taking it. It was I could completely understand why he had Burrows taking it. And the only argument I'll accept is, yeah, but Jimmy Cat, his confidence is on the floor currently, and he's not playing well. So if this goes wrong, like Davy's saying, that's what we're being said in group. If this goes wrong, why is Burrows taking it? It's not an ability question; it's a mentality question, and that was more the argument, I think, rather than can he score. It's more will he score because of where his head was at currently. Return Jedi says the gap's just got too big now. Having to go up and spend 150 million plus on not just top championship players but European talent to be competitive. That's obviously a Prem conversation, I think. Evening, lads. Why aren't they fit? It's a great question. Question. Yeah, they're just not, are they? It quite simply has to be two up top for Watford, says JSUFC. Nige says the players now and they aren't pulling their weight, and they don't deserve the fans they get right now. Okay. Jimmy says the penalty is part of man management. If Wilder saw fit to drop Burrows and give him a reset, then stepping down from penalty responsibility should have been agreed in advance. That's a fair point. That's a fair point as well.
I agree.
Luke's a Blade says responds to hang on. Mark Meldrew says went to Hull yesterday. Said he watched Cannon closely and said on 3 or 4 occasions he made a run, never found or even attempted to play him in. And Luke says, that's the problem. It's the service, not the strikers. I could understand if we were missing chances, never mind sitters. So maybe some people aren't just gunning for Cannon, for once.
Ooh, nice pun.
It weren't intended. It weren't, honestly.
There was and I know who's the best of the lot. And if you've watched the game this afternoon as well, we watched a ball into a channel for Erling Haaland, and he's raced on and muscled the defender and smacked him in. Brilliant, classic. There was spells last year when I was watching Man City as well, where they were turning down balls into him. They were turning down the ball down the channel for him, and he was making all these runs and stuff. So even Erling Haaland gets turned down for a through ball. You can imagine as well the players. They do favour the players they think are going to do something with it. And I think that's really obvious, and I think Cannon's probably suffering from both. Yeah, maybe a lack of vision, but also, like you say, a lack of favour and any faith that he's going to do anything with it when he gets there. And that happens in football, usually subconsciously. Usually, you don't think it, but if I've got the ball at my feet and I play with certain players, you tend to go with the one that you think is going to do something with the ball. I'll give you it back.
Yeah. Cooler King says, regarding luck, if you're playing well, creating chances and putting them away, then the deflected goals and refereeing decisions are much less important. If you're not scoring, you're vulnerable to bad luck. It's not a question of waiting for your luck to turn. It's a question of playing much better so that luck isn't a factor. Brad says, could put Japhet Tanganga as right wing back if Suter was to go back in the 3. You could. I like him in back line. I don't think he played great, to be fair, against Hull, old Japhet. I don't think Ben Mee played that well either. I don't think any of the back 3 did, to be honest. Rich says Coventry have scored 24 goals more than us. Yes, they've hit a purple patch, but that difference says everything about our team. Absolutely toothless. Better performances, but no points is worrying. John says, I think a lot of us are in the mindset that we can still achieve promotion. If Chris turns it around, as I think he will, mid-table should be the target. I think, we need to lower the expectations overall and just get done what's in front of us first and foremost.
Get to Christmas,
and reassess
and see what you're saying, because that's what the board will do. So if there's a sniff of us getting into the playoffs and going for it, and we're on a bit of a vein of form, you can guarantee it'll have some dictation on the budget that they're willing to throw at it.
Donna, couldn't agree more with this. Such a sliding doors moment at Wembley. No point wondering what if, I suppose, but does this happen if you never sacked Wilder? Shocked by the start you've had. Does this happen if we never sacked Wilder? It's speculative, obviously, and I'm setting you up for a fall here. Paul, are you going to answer?
No. Well, I think there's clearly a hangover, and while as long as it's not going well for Wilder, he will continue to point out the shortfall and the shortcomings and what he's inherited on the back of being sacked, because that's what he'll do. He says stuff like that all the time. Do I think we'd be where we are now if Wilder had stayed in charge? Absolutely not. Nowhere near.
Okay. You're such a fanboy. I guess you're about to find out how good Wilder actually is. Roll got them out of a similar situation. Oh, Cal Fowler can do one. Sheffield double kiss, he says. Get lost, yo. I'll be on with Cal tomorrow. That's why he's coming. So I advertised for our show, me and him, I suppose.
Did they win, Barnsley?
Yeah, they did, yeah. Yeah, that's why he's here. He wouldn't have said anything had they lost. Oh, no. Did they win? They were winning. They were definitely winning. I don't know. I don't care, to be honest. I don't care enough about them. Hi, 3 Mardy Blade, says Paul. Derby fan here. Honestly, hoping this gets turned around, and when it's sorted, you get to play Forest and laugh. Thank you, mate. Brett the Positive Blade says, it's a squad game. Both Gus and Cal will play in the 10 this season. Cal's more consistent. Gus has a higher ceiling and can win games on his own at times. Positive mindset needed going forward. Absolutely right, Brett. Chris says, what merchandise is the Mountain going to bring out end of next season? League One champions? Yeah, possibly, mate. Bryce says, this may come across as being harsh, but in any other place of work, if you don't do your job, you get your rear end handed to you. These boys need a rocket as they're professionals that aren't doing their jobs, period. They need to perform. The confidence thing is a good excuse to hide behind in this instance. Oh, no prisoners from Bry. Paul says these players are not fit enough because none of them wanted to play for the Cowboy Sayers. Up the Blades, up the Ramble. Discourse of Peacock says, as an outsider, it's scary looking at you guys. Championship and Prem, for that fact, needs more Yorkshire clubs, not less. It is scary. It is scary because I think we've talked about there's no easy games. And Lee Edridge quite rightly said, yep, because, mate, we are the easy game. That's what's been the problem. Joe's saying Sayers had one match with a full squad. Would you? It's a point. It's a point. Would you have advocated sticking with him, Joe? I'm not.
You didn't get a point, Jim. There's no point. Mate, the performances.
Hey, mate,
you should have had my cat in charge, and they'd have done better.
Which one?
Yeah.
You do. You hire a manager to get more than the sum of your parts out of what you've got. You hire him to go, oh, I'll turn a 10 into a 20. I'll get a pint out of an half pint, as Wilder says it. He literally took a squad that would, if you just sent him out every week and went, just go out there and try your hardest, lads, and I'll get you fit, they'd win half the games anyway. Just that. But he actively made it worse by confusing them and asking them to do things they didn't know how to do, and having a system that didn't fit any of the players. We are not defending Sayers on here.
Say what you really think.
Anything like it. I've never seen a group of blokes go from there to there like this group of players have under a manager. And yet, I'm expecting I've already seen an improvement, and Wilder will get more out of him than needed. Guaranteed, because I'm pretty sure that most of us could. But I have faith that he's going to turn it round. And let's not talk about Sayers anymore. He's
would your cat have played 3 at the back, or would it have?
Yeah,
Philosophy.
I've been in her ear telling her to play 3. Well, it's just the players' day. We said it quite early on, didn't we? We said it. As soon as the transfer deadline's gone, we've got players to play 3, and we haven't got any decent fullbacks. But we have got wing backs. So that they should be the ones who are providing the width, and we should play with a 3 because we were just so open as a 4. We were ridiculously open as a 4. So it makes sense to go to 3. Teams do it all the time.
Michael says, Evie, could you imagine Bamford playing in a Blade shirt under Wilder, world upside down if that happens? And Evie says, Michael, it'd be hilarious. But I actually think both of them would be well suited if they were on the same team this time. Bamford, I think he's on his way to Spain, though. And Jamie says, last thing Blades need is another striker who can't finish and struggles to stay fit, like Bamford. Charlie says, we had the mentality of playing for George Baldock. We played it for him and carried his shirt everywhere. We need to find that again. That mentality which bonds the team together. Yeah, that's That's true as well, to be honest. I'm not going to read that, Mark Meldrew. Barnsley drew 2-2, says Mark. So that, yeah, their poor form continues as well, to be honest.
Against?
Can't remember. I've got a show that talks about it tomorrow if you fancy tuning in. Flyover Fred says Ings has taken 17 pens in his entire career, scoring 13. That'd have got, if he'd have missed, that'd have been thrown back at us, wouldn't it, as well? If he'd have missed, if he'd have taken it and missed.
Premier League keepers.
Yeah.
All right. David Morwood says, problem is the squad are still in vertical football mode. Yeah.
I know what it means.
Yeah. Don't even know what it means. Lads, I'm going to call it there. Go on, Mr. Mountain. Go on.
No. Vertical. Up.
Oh,
That's where we're going, boys.
Thanks for the clarity. Thank you. I want to say thank you to everybody that's been in the comments tonight. Sorry I couldn't read every single comment, but I think I've got through comments from everybody. Lads, is there anything else you want to discuss before I let you go?
I'm really looking forward to the Matilda Shakes gig.
Yes, we're all at the Matilda Shakes gig on Friday night at Sydney Matildas.
Yeah.
So anybody
No
that's
idea
not...
where that is. So that's going to be fun.
You have. It's outside Action Coach. It's where I park on match days. So yes.
I don't know where that is either.
All right. Okay. Well, that's
Just
disgraceful.
put it in the Google, Dave, like the rest of us.
Put it in the Google. Right. We'll call it there then. Thank you to everybody. There will be stuff going off on the channel this week. If you're not already subscribed to the channel and you enjoy what we do, then please do subscribe. If you want to like the video, that'll get it pushed out to more people. So thank you for that as well. But there will be stuff coming over the international break to hopefully keep you entertained. We might even get a view from the mountain first time in a little while. That'd be nice. I don't know his guest will be this time. Won't be Clarky because he keeps paying you, doesn't he, from what I understand?
Mate.
I know.
We don't talk about it.
We don't talk about him anymore, do we? No, we don't. All right, well, thank you to everybody for watching. But for now, come on, you red and white wizards.
Don't forget to hype.
And? Up the blade?
Up the international break.
Shout out